All right, we're back. Recaps are back.
Finally.
We did Clone Wars,
Been a long time.
Westworld. That ended disappointingly, but long break. It's been months. We finally get the show we've wanted. It's The Mandalorian, Season 2, Chapter 9. We're going to call it Season 2, Episode 1, just to keep people from being confused. I mean, I'm not trying to make you sound dumb. I think I'm dumb, so I'm trying to make it so it's easier to understand. Season 2, Episode 1, the premiere. Baby Yoda's back, Mandalorian's back. We're going to break it down, go through the episode, Easter eggs, and any questions you guys have. And we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect, we think, with the rest of the season. Before you start, I assume you've already watched the episode. That's my assumption. Major spoiler alert.
I hope so.
We put a video on this
watch it
YouTube
first.
channel, a recap of the entire first season, less than 7 minutes. Breeze right through it, everything you need to know. Some new characters that you'll probably want to know about. It wasn't my personal prediction, but I got one of them right in the video, so that was nice, because there's a couple theories I could have gone with. I'm glad I went with the right one. So watch that. Also, this is for sale. Stored up BarstoolSports.com, down below if you want it. These are not right now, but
Yet.
keep an eye out.
Yeah, well, like a comeback
Could
eventually.
be a special drop, so just keep an eye out for those.
Follow all the Twitter accounts, Lights, Camera, Barstool, all that.
And pounce this time. Don't take your time.
Show off the cupcakes real quick.
yeah, we got cupcakes for the premiere. I feel like it's my birthday. I'm in school. Like,
Hold up one of the Baby Yoda ones.
yeah, let me get the baby.
Well, we can eat it at the end of the episode. I mean, look at this. Look at this bad boy.
That's a beaut.
Baby Yoda cupcake. We were supposed to have, by the way, a life-size Baby Yoda right here. We ordered it in January. Not here yet.
I mean, we ordered basically like 2 as a backup.
Yeah,
I ordered
dude.
one, you ordered one,
Yeah,
neither
it's
of them
not
are here.
It'll be here soon. We got the small 3D printed. Let's get into it, though. Expectations. Were your expectations met?
I think they were. I think the one thing we're going into this looking for is we want them to expand on the universe, and one thing we don't want is for them to sort of rehash sort of all the same stuff they were doing in season 1. And I think while the bare bones of this episode were a little like, I wouldn't say not unique or not special. It's like a story you feel like you felt before, but at the same time, it's just so unique feeling, and the way that it's all put together, aesthetically speaking, is just so different and special. And I loved everything about this episode.
Yeah, I would say my expectations were blown away. I would say this episode was better than I thought it would be. Like KenJac said, it's story themes that we've seen before, right? Like training a village to fight against a big creature, right? That's like a Dave Filoni special, I feel like, at this point.
Very Western-y.
The most Western-y, the most Deadwood-y. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
For many reasons.
But yeah, I thought this episode was awesome. I love just basically the way it expanded on lore that we've always wondered about. We'll get into it, but like, this is one of the main things that Star Wars fans have been wondering about since the 80s.
Yeah.
So it was cool to finally get some confirmation as to what happened.
This is, in terms of Star Wars lore, this is probably the most pivotal episode they've had yet.
Gotta be.
Also, this is, I think, the reason why the show works. Watched it with somebody who hasn't seen who knows Star Wars well, but not to the level of like, well, we can nerd out when we see a womp rat. Like little things that are meaningless to people who are not diehards. I think someone who watched this episode, insane amount of fan service and Easter eggs for fans like us.
Yeah.
But then if you don't know that stuff, doesn't get in the way.
No,
doesn't
not at
derail
all.
it. Like,
It's like dogs can't pick up that certain frequency. Like, that's how a casual viewer looks at it. But we're like, yeah, here it goes.
Again, we'll get into what like all the Easter eggs we're talking about, but it's the line they towed last year that made the show work so well. Is that they threw in so many things that fans love, but they made it so people who've never seen Star Wars can pick the show up. That's going to be challenging this season. We'll get to at the end of this episode. We'll talk about why that's challenging, but I think they're 1 for 1 at the plate.
Absolutely. And
They're 1 for 1.
I watched the entire first season yesterday, the day before the premiere, with my roommate Trent. If you don't know Trent, he is basically who you're talking about. He's not a huge Star Wars fan. He got into the movies for the first time a few years ago. And we watched that whole first season, and there were a few moments where I could pick it out and be like, all right, what they just said there doesn't mean anything to you, but here's a little backstory about it.
Yeah.
And every time he was kind of fascinated. So if you don't have time to do that, though, watch Jeff's recap video, like introduce someone to The Mandalorian with that recap video, and then there you go. You're ready for
All I
season
need
2.
to know. So let's get into the episode. Starts off on an unknown planet, though by the time I'm done editing this video, I would imagine there's going to be
Someone's
a
going
name.
to find it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be a name for that
They're
planet.
like, oh, it was in fucking Jedi Order 2 for
Yeah.
Xbox.
Seedy underworld, though. Lots of graffiti. Lots of anti-imperial and rebel propaganda. Literally everything. Anything on that poster or on the graffiti was
They're
crossed
anarchists,
out.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Nihilists.
planet's a big anarchist A.
We know he's picking up where he left off in last season, looking for Mandalorians to help him track down how to get Baby Yoda to his species, which we don't know if there's
Doesn't
any
seem
more.
like a time jump at all.
No, it seems very right away from where we just were. He's looking for a person, a villain. By the way, we're going to glance over some Easter eggs. We'll break them down later on in the episode. A guy named Gor Koresh, who seems to be a bit of a mobster. He runs Gamorrean fights. The tease for season 2, the first thing released when the finale aired last year, was the Gamorrean that we saw fighting in the ring.
remember that.
The pig nose. Not the pig nose. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
They're
pretty
big
much.
They're
pigs.
They're pig people.
Yeah, pig people. That's what
They're,
they are.
they're like the Angry Birds pigs. They're green.
Yeah. I believe either Filoni or Favreau, one of them tweeted out, the people who run the show, tweeted out the picture. That's the first thing we saw. I thought that was kind of neat. It's a cool fight where like there's a force field that stops them from killing each other probably until the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you guys, I was geeking out. I mean, when the Mandalorian is going to this like arena, and I can see the ring, and it looks like he's going down to like a UFC fight, and they're like, "Enjoy the fight." I was like, "Oh my god, this is!" I said, "I want to sell like barbaric Gamorrean cockfighting shirts."
They were just missing like a good Space Bob Baffert, basically,
Yes.
to introduce it. And they're almost like the I don't know if you guys remember from the original Dune, but like the space kind of things that they wore. They wore like the belt that gave them the force field.
Yes.
And like so if you stabbed them, like it wouldn't work, it would just bounce off. It was almost like that. They were wearing those Gamorreans.
Which is an interesting twist. Like those are those little touches that Filoni, especially after the behind the scenes of Mandalorian, he thinks about. He's got that Star Wars brain more than anyone else, probably besides George Lucas does. Of like, I got to add that in there because I know the fans are going to say something. So he's talking as Gor Koresh, who's great mobster voiced by John Leguizamo, and he kind of double crosses him right away. It's not really a double cross, but
Straight cross.
It's a straight cross, and that's the theme
Crossover.
of Mandalorian. There's so many crosses and double crosses. Mando's like, I want to find out more about Mandalorian. Gor Koresh, this mobster, is like, okay, I can help you. But then he stops the fight.
Psych.
His fighter's going to lose, so he just shoots the other Gamorrean, and he's like, you're in trouble now, bitch. Everyone leave. We've seen this scene from the trailers. It's still held up. Baby Yoda hiding in the vessel. That was
Adorable,
pretty
so
in the
adorable.
pod.
And let me say this: my main takeaway here: even in space, boxing is corrupt.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Big
Teddy.
Teddy's still fucked
Imagine
up.
Teddy Atlas in space losing his mind over this.
Then Mando uses the whistling birds, the weapon he has that we saw from the first season that kills everyone around
Awesome.
him. He takes out a bunch of different creatures that we'll touch on later. He's a badass again. And he opens up this season the same way he opens up last season, beats the shit out of a bunch of people, and then someone's running away, and he grabs him with his
The lasso thing.
his lasso, his wire or whatever, and drags him in. Last year he cut the guy in half. This time he hangs him upside down. He interrogates him, says, where do I have to go to find a Mandalorian? And he tells him, you got to go to Mos Pelgo, which ends up being on Tatooine. And then he leaves him to die. For dogs, again, another creature. I don't know what the creature
Brutal,
is.
like kind
Yeah.
of like a savage Batman-esque.
Eaten alive
I'm
by
gonna
dogs.
leave
Yeah,
you
very
hanging there,
Batman.
hit the lights out. Yeah.
I don't know the creatures. Again, I'm sure we'll get names by the time I'm done editing this.
They were just Jawas. They were just super hungry. They're all red-eyed anyway.
I thought they were
At
Jawas.
first, I thought the same thing with the red eyes.
So it starts the same way as it did last season. Mando now back on Tatooine. We see Amy Sedaris' character again. She knows something that a little bit. I know not one of
Yeah.
the side characters
She's
for you.
she
A
was
little
mad.
too much Sedaris
At
in
least
this
there was
episode.
no Toro Calican.
There was
Yeah.
no Toro,
Well, he's
thank God. He's
big dead.
big
Rest in hell.
upjoined the people in the sky. But they treated her like she was Obi-Wan Kenobi coming back. Like
Yeah.
like we were all gonna be at home cheering her on.
Line.
She is kinda-
I don't mind her that. I don't mind her
She's
that
fine.
much.
She's completely fine. I have
quick
nothing
roll.
against her, but
But she mentioned something that we see in terms of character development with Mandalorian. She says to the pit droids who want to fix the Razor Crest, Mando's ship, says, no, don't. He doesn't like droids. And he's like, no, he could use a tune-up because we know he likes droids now. He's kind of used to them. IG-11 helped save him in the last season. And she makes the comment like, oh, okay, so he likes droids now. So they help fix it. And he asks, where's Mos Pelgo? She shows the map. And it was like kind of decimated on the map. She goes, it's a town that hasn't lasted. Over the years, it's an old mining town. And so he goes to this old settlement. He takes a speeder bike, the swoop bike that we saw
So
from
cool.
season 1. Yep. Another
hits
cool,
every time.
great
Just a
music.
fastball down the middle.
They go all just Ludwig Göransson music, driving across the sand dunes. We see him meet up with some old Tusken Raider friends. We see have some of the binoculars that he gave them. from last season as a bit of a gift when he decided, I can be friends with them. And then he arrives in a town. He arrives in Mos Pelgo.
Rides in like a old cowboy in a western.
Yeah,
it's so
super
cool.
westerny.
So awesome. I know
Everyone's
it's
shuttering
been
the
the thing
doors.
we were saying constantly,
Yeah.
like it's a spaghetti western Star Wars, but this episode more than any other,
yeah.
specifically before we get to the big like ending battle, this is a western. This is like Deadwood. This is Justified. This is whatever you want to call it.
Old West town rolls
There,
in.
he
everyone
basically
shutters
goes
the
into a
doors.
saloon, like
Yeah.
it might as well be swinging doors. And did you guys notice when he first walks into that place, the way that the light was cast against him looked exactly like the first shot of him going into the
Into
saloon
the
in the
space
beginning?
place, yeah. Mhm.
In the first
okay.
episode,
That's-
I think it's like an exact parallel.
It was so westerny. It was awesome. He talks to the bartender, another creature, Weequay, which we'll touch on later.
First good Weequay we've seen.
Yeah, usually that species is the real douchebag.
Raiders, pirates,
Yeah, they're-
Hondo Udonta, like they're all pirates.
He's
and
just
villains. They're
just a
working
bartender.
stiff.
Yeah, he's just making a living. And he mentions, like, I heard there's a Mandalorian here. Have you seen it? And he goes, there's one that wears armor like you. He's the Marshal. And Mando turns around, and there it is. We get the reveal, Boba Fett armor with some really like. This is just inside baseball if you're not a football fan, but like Ken Dorsey sleeves, like really fucking baggy ass sleeves.
Really baggy.
And it's a guy wearing Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah.
I think it's just because he's so much taller than Boba Fett.
Yeah. It doesn't really fit him well.
Oliphant's just taller, and he's wearing red, and the red pops so much more than the
Yeah.
gray.
He looks like he's at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, really bad.
He's a big
cosplay.
Boba fan.
Yeah.
So it turns out that's Timothy Oliphant. He sits down at the table, takes off the helmet. It is, and if you couldn't quite tell if it was Boba's armor because it's very weathered, you did run. They put the helmet down. You see all
the den.
den, everything's
Yeah,
there.
yep.
Very cool moment to see the Boba Fett armor back. That is
Chills. Even you just
Yeah.
describing the moment, like again, I want to go home and watch it again because that was just like
you kind of
holy
knew
shit.
he. So there have been rumors that that's who he was playing. Cobb Vanth is the character.
They said he was going to be the sheriff of Tatooine. This is like the same thing. It's just different
Yeah,
words.
Sheriff Freetown, I believe, is what. So I am not as familiar with the books. Did a little research. This is a character from the Aftermath books, from Chuck Wending. Yeah, there's 3 books, the Aftermath book series. This is a character that people knew about. They figured, okay, if apparently Timothy Oliphant's wearing the Boba Fett armor on set, that was the rumor. He's probably playing Cobb Vanth, a character who somehow finds a way to get the armor, which we find out about a little later on in the episode. So that was the rumor, confirmed that is who he's playing.
Yep.
Thought they maybe I thought he might just die right away.
Yeah, I had
Actually,
no
legit,
idea.
Like, this would actually this
stand
seems
up.
like kind of a cool turn to do in the first episode. Yeah, he's about to draw on him. It was like as westerny as it gets, but then all of a sudden, ground starts to rumble.
I love the twist that they took, and I love that they didn't
Yeah.
go that route. Like the way that they kept him alive at the end, everything like that. I love this character.
So Mando and
Awesome
him,
character.
they don't duel. They go outside, and we see something's running through the ground. And I don't know. I immediately knew what it was.
I
Did
didn't.
you didn't?
No,
Okay.
no.
I had a feeling.
I thought it was going to be a sandstorm. Like until it got
Okay, no, at
really
first
close,
I thought
I really
sandstorm,
thought
yeah.
we're getting a sandstorm.
But then when I saw the ground move, I was like, "Well, that's a KRAYT dragon."
I thought KRAYT Dragon, and also immediately was like, this is very Dune-y. This
Yeah.
is very much like Dune again. This whole episode, a lot of Dune vibes to it.
Yeah.
Cut.
Mando witnesses a KRAYT dragon roll through town, a massive KRAYT dragon, a very old Star Wars character. One of the first things we ever see in Star Wars,
Yep.
the original movie, is the
Yeah.
KRAYT dragon skeleton. We've never seen it in live action. I don't even know if we've seen it animated. I
don't
know
think so.
we've seen it in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, game.
Which we'll get to the Easter egg in terms of the KRAYT dragon and the Knights of the Old Republic video game, but we've never seen it in this setting. Crazy when it pops out, it eats the bantha. Very cool
It's
moment.
very scary looking.
and
Yeah.
unbelievable CGI. Like
Yeah,
I was
right?
the entire episode. I was blown
Somebody
away by the
noted
CGI. on it.
replied to our tweet about questions, and I didn't put in the question thing, but noted that the budget is very much it's up this season.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's-
it looked
there's a
movie
bigger
level.
budget.
It looked movie level.
It looked
Yeah.
better than, I would say, the creature that jumped out in the first episode of season 1. You know, the ice creature that came out?
Yeah, the
This looked-
walrus looking thing.
This is a big step up from that.
It looked
Big.
very fucking cool.
The sand around it every time it
Yeah.
hit. It just looked perfect.
So we've never seen the KRAYT dragon. We've only ever seen it as a skeleton. It was in Robot Chicken once.
Yeah.
KRAYT
Oh,
dragon
really?
like, goes into the desert and dies. Yeah, he leaves like the one water in the one like pond in Tatooine and dies in the desert. So we've really never seen it outside of those things. And then Mando and Cobb Vanth, they kind of come to terms. He's like, look, let's not fight. I will give you this armor. You want this armor. You want to know more about Mandalorians. I'm not a Mandalorian. If you help me kill that thing, I'll give you the armor. And Mando, always up for a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
He is fucking.
He loves quests.
He was saying yes to that before he knew what the quest was.
He's trying 100% this game.
Yeah. So on their way, they're going to go find the KRAYT Dragon. Cobb Vanth explains how he got that armor, and there's kind of a cool flashback scene. He says, we watched the Death Star 2 explode, and they were like watching like news footage.
Basically
of
on the news.
It's a loop. It's just like a vine of the
hologram of it. It was kind of cool.
Boom, boom. I loved it.
But once again, there's something where the Death Star sneaks its way into everything. Somehow it finds a way. And he says that miners immediately, and this is kind of the theme of The Mandalorian and when this is set years after Return of the Jedi, if you don't remember, if you need a refresher. And there's really no order in the galaxy at all. Like, it didn't go over. Like, the Rebel stuff, they blow it up, then everyone's good now. That's not the case because there was no one really in control. And miners walk into this bar where they're watching the Death Star explode, and they just shoot everybody. And Cobb Vanth escapes with the bartender, the weak-way bartender we saw from the beginning. And he goes into the desert. He steals a Kentano, which is the ice cream maker. That's a fucking reference. I'm not going to get into it again.
Which is now just like a complete thing.
Look up if you want to know more. If you don't remember that Easter egg, look up Wilro Hood. That's one
great one.
Another time we've gone over it before. He escapes with that off. There's another speeder. We've seen that speeder before from A New Hope. That's one of the speeders that's kind of in the background when Luke sells his speeders. That was kind of a cool visual Easter egg. He's in the desert. And he's just really losing it. He's escaping that town that got overrun by the miners. He's trying to find a way to get back and to save the town, but he's exhausted, dehydrated, passing out, and then Jawa saves him. The Sandcrawler saves him. We see the Sandcrawler again. And while he's inside the Sandcrawler, he spots this Boba Fett armor, or what he doesn't know it's Boba Fett, but it's Boba Fett's armor. And in that Kentano, he had these crystals. And so he sells the crystals for the armor, and he takes the armor, he takes the jetpack, the rocket, and he goes back and he takes over the town, and the miners leave, and that's how he controls town. That's how he's the marshal. He controls the town, and he saves the town because of the Boba Fett armor, which I thought was a really cool way to bring it back, rather than just like, it just showed up somewhere. Like
cool.
It's Mando Ramen, because if they didn't, like, if they weren't careful with this show and they weren't so painstakingly like the little details, it could just be Mando finds it in like a fucking bin or something. But the way they work it into the story, I thought it was a great way to bring it back without it being obnoxious.
Or even like Boba just like has it. Like Boba shows up and he's wearing his armor. Like, I like the story of Cobb Vanth literally grabbing Boba Fett's armor and taking back his outlaw town with it. Like, all right, immediately this character is an amazing addition to the Star Wars universe.
One of the best things about this show is just showing the power vacuum that happens after the Galactic Empire's gone, and this is another great example of that. He even says a great line, which is "Power hates a vacuum," and like that is what
he literally said it.
That exact line, and he says like this is what allowed the miners to come in and take over the lack of order. Which, like, when we think Star Wars, we think Galactic Empire automatically they're evil, terrible, bad guys, but they also offered a system of like safety and, to a sense, like justice in the out west and like these outer rim territories.
You trying to justify what the Emperor did over here?
Not justifying it, but just like once the power is gone and the rebels or I guess in the Galactic Alliance isn't there to kind of enforce justice, now everything is like in turmoil.
Yeah,
and I think that's a great thing.
Unrest and everything.
And just in general, bringing back the Boba Fett armor, one step in the process of this episode, they nailed that. And that was an important thing, because that was, I think, my concern with the season. A lot of rumored characters, a lot of Easter eggs already in this episode. That could have been a real first fumbling of the ball that could have set up just a disastrous season of like, it didn't work this time. I think they nailed that.
No, they nailed it.
They kept the Mando tone. They kept it kind of in this weird space of new things, but bringing back old. Thought that was great. If you're wondering why we're not talking about the thing that Cobb Vanth was riding on, we'll get to that in Easter eggs. But he's riding on a cool speeder, and we'll talk about what that could have been. And then they arrive at a Tusken Raider camp. Pretty contentious. Clearly, Tusken Raiders have gone into town. It didn't dawn on me when they said Raiders have gone into Mos Pelgo that they were talking about Tusken Raiders. And so Cobb Vanth has killed some of them. They don't like each other. They try to give him this stinky looking drink. The whole kind of back and forth is pretty funny.
A sea urchin or something. It was nasty.
Gross. They calm him down. Clearly, Mando is friends with them. He can speak Tusken.
Yeah, it was interesting when he was like,
love seeing him go back and forth.
And they would be like, he'd be like, all right, we're friends now.
Remember, he was like, he didn't want to put up with any of that shit. He didn't want to talk to Jawas, and now he's like, Queel from last season, the Nick Nolte character, kind of showed him the way to like communicate.
He's becoming like a progressive guy.
Live more symbiotically.
You can really see him change, which that's again another thing that people talk about Mando is that you really never see his face. Like, character development's tough because you just don't see it's a helmet, but
They almost have to give him like actual actions,
which is what
develop,
they're doing.
You know? Yeah.
And so they team up with the Tusken Raiders to go search out this KRAYT dragon. They go to this whole like cave, which turns out to be an abandoned Sarlacc pit, which is really fucking
Very cool line with this too.
That was neat, and I guess like it feasted on the Sarlacc.
He's like, I've never seen. There's no such thing as an abandoned Sarlacc pit. And he's like, there is if you eat the Sarlacc pits in it.
Holy fuck!
The Sarlacc, if you don't know, like the beak is there, but it's this big like belly basically.
It's like an iceberg basically.
It's crazy. We have it up on screen. It's insane. And
blowing minds right now with the Sarlacc. I'm sure a ton of fans that never knew that.
It is crazy. Yeah, it's like that stupid. You know that iceberg?
Diglet? Oh, I think
the internet iceberg meme. Diglet's a good one.
Yeah.
The internet iceberg meme where it's like Google and then it's like all the dark web.
Yeah.
So the Tusken Raider lures the KRAYT dragon out with a bantha, and the KRAYT dragon just eats the Tusken Raider.
Crazy.
Instead.
A lot of Tusken Raiders die in this episode.
Yeah, a lot of them die.
Horrible ways too.
So they see how tough it is to attack this thing. They go back to the Tusken Raider base camp. They're playing. They got like the Home Alone like making the plan to beat the Tusken Raiders. Like any like movie, they have the small.
They're laying out the blueprints.
And he's like, "Is that to scale? I don't think that's to scale. The thing is fucking huge."
Yeah.
And then they realize like, okay, it's a big monster. Like it's bigger than I think we even thought it was. And he's like, I don't think they have the reinforcements. And Mando makes a joke. It's like, well, I offered up your people.
Yeah. He lays down the chocolate chips.
Yeah.
Well, they did look like chocolate chips. Didn't they?
They were like
delicious. I wanted to eat them.
He's like, yeah, I offered up your people to help. So they go back to Muspelgo. They don't love it. The townspeople are not fans of it, but they say, hey, look, like we want peace. The Tusken Raiders will offer us peace. We can be together as long as we don't fire first. Mando says, as long as you don't fire first, the Tusken Raiders will not attack
said
you.
Until you break the peace, which is very specific wording, I think.
And they also have like their marshal presenting the idea to them, so they're like a little like, all right, if the marshal's saying it,
we trust the marshal.
Yeah, the marshal.
They're into it's all humans and then one Weequay basically.
Yeah, just a single Weequay.
This episode made me want to grow a mustache so bad. I wish I could.
Cobb Vanth, sexy dude.
So now they kind of have this like teaming up training montage again, right? Where they got all the bombs, they're strapping together. The Tusken Raiders come into a very cool theme that Ludwig Göransson cooked up.
That was sick.
Very Aladdin vibes.
Yeah.
It sounded
I thought the same exact thing.
Caravan coming
Speaking of Disney things, that was pretty neat. So they ride the banthas and they move all the way in to, once again, the KRAYT dragon's lair, where they're going to lure him out and they're going to try to blow him up from underneath. They're going to try to blow him up from underneath where
the belly is the weak spot.
The belly is the one weak spot. They have all these bombs. They bury the bombs. They bring out these things with these harpoons.
It's like ballistas, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So they set up this attack. They lure out the KRAYT dragon, who outsmarts them. Totally sees it coming. He ducks back in, and then when he eventually comes out enough, they blow it up, but it doesn't work. It very clearly doesn't work.
I think we were all thinking the same thing when we saw the thing. We're like, they have to kill from the inside. Gotta die.
I kind of figured that was gonna happen. I didn't like.
We've all seen the Avengers,
and I like that they said it was. That they didn't try to play it off like we got him. They knew like that was too easy.
Yeah, they cut back to them. They were like,
and
we do not think that thing is dead.
This I did not expect. Pops out from the top of the cave and starts spitting like acid.
I thought that was a second one. Did you guys think that was the second one?
I was for a second. I was like, holy shit! Is that
the mom or something?
Like the female in some species are bigger. That's just like a bigger version just came out. Yeah.
The KRAYT dragon starts killing people with this toxic vomit,
like acid,
like
or something.
Alien, basically.
Yeah, very alien-esque. And this is what I didn't expect. I thought Mando was going to blow him up another way. Mm-hmm. I did not expect them to launch off in their jetpacks. I kind of forgot Mando has a jetpack.
Yeah.
Because we only saw it briefly at the end of last season. And badass Boba Fett. We see the Boba Fett armor. Well, actually, we did see the Boba Fett armor used in the flashback. Him fire the rocket.
He fires the jet-firing rocket. You know?
Which we hadn't seen
really. The guidance missile is so sick. That's one of the cool weapons in Star Wars.
But now we see
the little thing comes down.
Also, a very valuable toy for those of you who are Star Wars collectors.
Yes, that's right. I totally skipped over that. Just having like all the Boba Fett things used during that flashback, you're like, all right, finally, what a payoff.
Yeah.
He finally uses it. And then he finally uses the jetpack for more than just one moment where he gets the shit kicked out of him, basically, accidentally by Han Solo. Yep. So we see Cobb Vanth in the Boba Fett armor and Mando use a jetpack. They fly up, they attack the KRAYT dragon, they bring it back down to the Earth. Nothing is working.
Amazing battle. Like, so well done the way they're going in and out. I was thinking the whole time, like, this is going to be a great video game level one day.
Right? The aspect ratio expanded. It was shot in IMAX. If you watched in 4K or whatever TV, Dolby, looks insane. It looks so fucking good. They bring it down to the Earth. Nothing's working, and Mando says, all right, one last thing. We have a few more bombs strapped to a bantha. I'm gonna get the. I thought he was just gonna throw the bantha inside. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't even think like you guys did. And then he goes inside the bantha. He's like, watch the kid, watch the child. And you're like, he's going inside. So he flies on in to the KRAYT dragon that eats him with that bantha. And then blows the bantha up from inside by zapping it with his weapon as he flies out and blows the smithereens. Blows it up, kills it, saves the day.
Yeah.
Just as Mando always does.
I just peeked down at our Easter eggs. I don't believe it's on here. Did you guys notice when Mando was trying to get Cobb Vanth out of the way, he hit the jetpack in the same way?
way.
No, so I put here.
Okay, you do have it?
I said Vanth jetpack flies off, so that's a great point. So right before he's about to go attack him, he says, watch the child, and he hits the jetpack, and he flies off exactly. It makes the same sound effect.
like, hand
it was
movement
so
and everything,
perfect,
too, yeah.
and that's one of those things, like
Yep.
you mentioned, that if anyone's watching that plays fine. He's getting him out of the way. But if a Star Wars fan is watching that, they're like, the jetpack malfunctioned.
It was the exact little like nod that you just love that's thrown in there. Tusken Raiders are very happy. They're pumped. They get a pearl. Pearl, we'll just get to that Easter egg now. The pearl is like a very iconic thing in Star Wars Legends lore. You can use a KRAYT Dragon Pearl to make a lightsaber. It's an alternative use for a lightsaber. I know it's been used in the video games as well, I believe.
There's a
pearl.
mission where you have to, I believe, kill a KRAYT dragon and retrieve the pearl from it. Like
Yeah.
it's like
It's a big deal for
objective.
Tusken Raiders too. Like it's
Yeah.
a sign of like
They
being,
cut it out. There's like a bunch of meat.
It's their
Mando
meat.
takes some meat. Like I guess.
Mando takes
giant
meat.
chunk of steak.
Yeah, he's like, I'm eating for weeks.
Reminded me like Joe Rogan always talks about his elk fridge every time he's got a guest. He's
Yeah.
like, I got a bunch of elk. I'll give you some elk. I got
cream
industrial
fillet
fridges.
here if you want
Yeah.
it.
Mando's just gonna be giving Grief Karga like, I got some KRAYT Dragon. Yeah, I'll give it to you.
So Moss Pelgans, they're happy. They're okay with the Tusken Raiders now. He gives him the armor. Cobb Vanth gives Mando the armor, makes the comment.
You guys think he was going to give it back? I thought it was going to be like, you've earned the armor. You're doing a good thing with
no,
it.
I actually
kind of
felt
had the feeling.
I felt he was like content with it.
Yeah, so did I.
And he makes that one
They've
comment.
been through some shit together. I
he-
trusted him.
He was like, I wasn't the one that broke it, or I wasn't the one that did that,
Remember,
which is again
yeah.
another throwback to it getting hit by Han Solo and him flying into the Sarlacc pit. So again, great moment, blows it up. He uses what's his weapon called again? I'm blank. I have so many Star Wars things
I
in
didn't
my
even
head.
remember this thing.
People are
Yeah.
yelling at
The
home.
vaporizer?
Yeah. That he.
Disintegrator.
Disintegrator,
rifle.
yeah.
Disintegrator.
That's gonna piss me off. I'm trying not to look
He's
it up.
putting it on the screen right now.
It's on there. Yeah. So they're all great. Mando's happy. He rides away. He's got the jetpack. He's got the armor. He's gonna go figure out who this Mandalorian was. If it was a Mandalorian, Baby Yoda's in tow, drives away, twin sons, like, oh, cool, twin sons moment. I let my guard down for 3 seconds. I was like, I thought we were gonna get a big reveal. I we're gonna get a big reveal. I know it. But I forgot about it. I'm like, oh, twin sons, that's always a cool moment. Like, oh, there's a guy. I wonder who we're gonna figure out that guy is. Turns around, it's Tamura Morrison, it's fucking Boba Fett. Insane. And we're right in the Easter eggs now. It was huge goosebumps moment. We knew he was in it. It unfortunately got spoiled for everybody.
Yeah, I wish that wasn't out.
I kind of
casting
wish we
to come
didn't
out,
know.
yeah.
But I thought about that after I watched. Like, I kind of wish I didn't know he was going to be in it. But at the same time, my chills and goosebumps were so high.
I know,
it's like,
yeah.
whatever. It was so fucking cool.
When you're in that moment, when you experience it, like, you're so lost in this show that you don't even remember that you knew it before. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I was still just as excited, even, and then like
Yeah.
I think in the aftermath of it, in the honeymoon period of like the sensation, I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I didn't know it. But
Like,
it still felt
imagine
so
we
good.
didn't know any of that, and we saw Cobb Vanth walking in the Boba
Dude.
Fett armor for the first time. Like, that would have been
Yeah, it would have been nuts.
absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. I even saw like Star Wars Direct and like not calling them out, but a bunch of like news sites were posting Lucasfilm like changes trademark for Boba Fett, like alters it slightly.
Yeah, I did too.
I don't want those. Like, those news stories could go away.
Yeah.
So even
wanna
with
know.
like knowing it, I think the moment pays off, and it's
was
cool to
cool.
see Boba, a character who I've given shit to. I mean, Boba's an awesome character, but Boba up until now, a lot more lame than I think people want to. Like, I know people are yelling and they're mad.
Well, he
right
hasn't
now,
done anything
but he
yet.
hasn't done anything. But now we have the chance to really make Boba Fett the fucking badass character that we've always
Worthy
thought
of
he
the
was.
mantle. Yeah.
Like, just right now,
Absolutely.
Mandalorian is the cooler of the two characters.
Yeah.
Now Boba Fett really gets a chance to be the character I think everyone wants him to be. When they have the action figure, the rocket firing action figure goes for $1 billion online. Like, we finally have that chance. And I think giving him, again, we'll say it again, this is Filoni knowing Star Wars and knowing like what matters. Giving him a twin sons moment
Yeah.
is very fucking cool.
Yeah.
getting a twin sons moment in Star Wars is no big. Like that's no big.
Yeah.
That's no small potatoes thing. That's a big fucking deal.
They had a good twin sons line too, if I remember correctly. He's like, that's more than any man with twin sons on his back can take. I think Cobb Vanth said something along those lines.
That's like a
Anytime
perfect
you hear it.
cowboy line, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So we get Boba Fett. So clearly Tamora Morrison, who played Jango Fett.
And some people were saying, like, is that Boba? Is that not? It definitely is. He just, I assume, looks like shit because
he's
he's
holding
been through
one
the
of the Tusken
Sarlacc
Raider,
and
Yeah.
a Tusken Raider weapon.
Yep.
Club and a rifle.
He's been through a lot. He escaped
Totally,
the fucking
yeah.
Sarlacc pit. So again, Tamora Morrison. They changed the voice of Boba Fett. Jason Wingreen originally was the voice of Boba Fett. They changed it on the DVD releases because obviously Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett. So that is why Tamora Morrison is back in the Star Wars world. Very cool to see. Insane Boba Fett on screen for the first time with the helmet off.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's first time we've seen him in a new Star Wars thing since Attack of the Clones when little baby Boba is holding his decapitated dad.
I wonder if he even truly follows like the Mandalorian sort of religion because he was raised by Jango until he was all of 10, 11?
I kind of doubt it, to be honest.
Yeah, so I don't think he was. So maybe like that's not even a big deal for him.
So clearly he broke out. When we get to audience questions, we'll talk about our thoughts on Boba Fett breaking free because there's no definitive 100% canon story right now. So we'll get to that in audience questions. So Boba Fett, that's the biggest Easter egg. I mean, calling it an Easter egg, it's a character.
Yeah, it's just in your face.
It's going to
in
be
the
a
show now.
major part of the show, I assume.
A ton of creatures. We're going to flash them on screen. One of the first creatures was Twi'lek or Twi'lek, depending on how you pronounce it. Purple one this time, though.
Yeah.
Gamorreans were fighting. We saw them initially in Return of the Jedi. Bantha's the most insane practical effect Bantha we've ever
Love
seen.
those ones.
We saw Zabrak. That's the same species as Darth Maul. We've seen a ton of them now, especially in Mandalorian. An Abyssin. An Abyssin first appeared in the Cantina. That's the one-eyed creature.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we first saw it in the Cantina in A New Hope, voiced by John Lasagna,
Looked
aka
great.
John Leguizamo.
The practical
It did.
on the
Yeah.
eye and then like the actual mouth movement.
It's very
John
cool.
Leguizamo deserves a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
That was
That was a long time coming.
Yeah.
we interviewed him not long ago. We had no fucking
right?
idea.
I don't think he knew at that point either. That was
No,
like
he
2
probably
years ago
did.
at this point.
Pit droids again. They make an appearance. We first saw them in the Phantom Menace. A Massif. Those are the dogs that Tusken Raiders owned. We know
So
Anakin killed a couple
Loosely
of those.
can call it dogs. It's like a disgusting
I said it looks
dragon
like a hyena.
creature.
It's a hyena. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw Anakin.
Anakin killed the shit
Yeah.
out of him.
The closest we've ever seen with Womp Rats before.
yeah.
We heard Womp Rats in the original Star Wars. They added them in the George Lucas special editions. They just scurry around. It was like that was like their way of showing off CGI.
Yeah.
Like look at these little dots running around.
Yeah.
So we saw Womp Rats close up. We know Timothy Olyphant, Deadwood. We saw he's in this show. I assume we'll see him again. I don't think it's going to be a one-off for Timothy Olyphant. But W. Earl Brown voiced the character of the Weequay,
The bartender,
another Deadwood actor. So a very Deadwood episode, which was pretty
Obviously,
awesome to
very
see.
old Western themed episode too, so it all worked out perfectly.
The most on-the-nose Easter egg in the history of Star Wars was R5. Okay, no, second most. R2-D2 and C-3PO in Rogue One.
Okay, yeah.
This is the next most. R5-D4, the droid
Hey, R5.
that blows up from A New Hope. We had seen him in the last season. He was in the Cantina.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of took the leap. We're like, that's him. Let's just say
it's
that's
probably him, yeah.
Now we know it's him because Amy Sedaris' character literally says R5, and R5-D4 rolls over, and the tracking shot literally shows the back of the top of the droid where the bad motivator exploded, and Uncle Owen had to. Luke said it's got a bad motivator, and Uncle Owen had to swap it out for R2-D2. So R5, that very clearly is R5-D4.
She just rips on him. She's like, R5, you suck. This is a terrible droid. You can't get a good help these days.
Yeah.
In
But
Legends,
at this
punching
point,
bag.
it's like Kurt Angle when the crowd chants, "You suck." It's like endearing, It's out of love.
She clearly doesn't know he's force sensitive.
No, she
Well,
has
that's
no
the thing.
idea.
So fans of Legends will know. And so I didn't want to. What was the reference? I didn't want to go. Oh, the Camtano, the ice cream maker. I won't go into that one again. I will refresh people's minds. In Legends, the Legends book series of Star Wars. That's the expanded universe it used to be called. They could make it. People can make anything. George loved that. Kids and fans could make anything. And somebody made a storyline that R5-D4 is force sensitive.
And he,
Skippy the
blew the
Jedi
motivator on purpose to make sure that R2 and C-3PO could be together because he knew they had to be together. And,
Yeah, he had the force. So there's a long history, but it is neat that R5-D4 gets his due. We heard Mos Espa referenced when Amy Sedaris was showing the map. We heard Mos Pelgo, Mos Eisley, where the cantina is, but Mos Espa, that's where Anakin Skywalker hails from. So a reference there. Maybe we'll see that town. It would be neat to go back to Mon.
The skeletons are still sitting there.
Maybe that old lady is there.
Never buried.
Yeah.
There's a storm coming, Annie. I feel it in my
What's your
bones.
name?
Right?
Yeah.
She feels it in her bones.
Or the old lady from the end of Rise of Skywalker, but she's younger.
That's
but
what I
she's
thought
still
you were
just
No,
wandering
I was
around.
talking about the old lady who tells Anakin there's
storm's
a storm
coming.
coming.
Yeah,
Her
okay.
bones are hurting. Fucking old lady. She's got a name. I
It's
forget
like,
it.
lady, you got arthritis. There's no weather interruption.
But Mos Pelgo's been referenced before in video games. Star Wars: The Old Republic referenced it, but had not shown it. It's the first time we've seen Mos Pelgo. So all the Mosses, they've been referenced. Cobb Vanth, I think, was drinking blue milk.
I think it was Spotchka, the alcoholic
Yeah, I'm
drink.
pretty sure it's
Oh,
Spotchka,
right.
yeah.
Okay. I was saying it was a little clear, but my mind
It was
always
like
goes
bright,
to blue milk.
yeah, it was that
right, 'cause we saw
Gatorade
that in the
blue.
last season
Yeah.
as well. Anakin's speeder. That's the big question.
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth is driving what is clearly a pod racing engine. So not Anakin's speeder, Anakin's pod racer.
Yeah.
He's driving a pod racer engine. We don't know for sure if it's Anakin's pod racer, but man, if it's not, it's a copy.
It looks and sounds.
If it's
like
not, that'd be so
you know.
mean on their part.
It's the
It
biggest
looks like a
Anakin
pod
racing
racer,
fan.
sounds like a pod racer.
It's somebody with like their Dale Earnhardt gear. They got the Anakin gear.
Sounded exactly like it, looked exactly like it. It was like just the very small minutia details that looked a little
It's a
different.
near
but that's it.
replica.
Yeah.
It's a near replica
Yeah.
if
so
it's
weird
not
if it
it. But
wasn't.
I'm going to go ahead and say that is Anakin's pod.
I think it's probably it.
That's his pod engine that Cobb Vanth turned into a speeder, which that one I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That
Pretty
one
cool.
kind of blew me away a bit because you just don't know.
Tatooine's a small place, man.
Watch
Yeah,
the
not a lot of
behind the
engines.
scenes of Star Wars props and references on Disney Plus, and Jon Favreau talking about how absurd Dave Filoni is for the references
Yeah.
he gets. He's like, I don't know what he's talking about half the time, and I'm a Star Wars fan. That's one of those.
Yeah.
I would never think to make that into a speeder for Mandalorian. Cobb Vanth driving Anakin's pod
Like a
engine, I guess.
sidecar too, almost. It was so cool.
It was like Batman's like Bat Pod almost.
Yeah.
And shout out to Dave Filoni, by the way, for paying tribute to George Lucas in yet another way by doing the Chapter 9, Episode 1, Season 2, just Star Wars with confusing numbers. They go together
Right,
like
yeah.
Jay-Z and Linkin Park.
Hand in hand. We've already mentioned KRAYT Dragon, Knights of the Old Republic, KRAYT Dragon, longtime reference, and the Starlight Pit. Those were kind of the big Easter eggs. There was a bunch of other, I think, tiny hidden things, but nothing that I think we missed. We may have missed one or two super hidden things, so someone may discover that after us. But I think all the Easter eggs were fairly in your face, and they were big. They were
Yeah.
big Easter eggs. Audience questions to wrap this up. At Row36, here's the thing about Boba Fett. Said you'll have to explain to us who haven't read Legends or explain the universe as to why Boba Fett is alive. We don't know for sure, but we have to assume, and I think there was some foreshadowing. Mando, like, launching himself out of the mouth of the KRAYT Dragon with his jetpack and blowing it up. That's what a lot of Legends and expanded universe stories say Boba Fett does. There are so many different explanations for how Boba Fett survives. We're going to get the main one this season, clearly. We're going to
Yeah.
find out how he does it. So it's kind of not even worth speculating, but you have to assume he used his jetpack to blast out of the Sarlacc pit.
Do you think we're going to see the moment? Do you think they're going to flash back to the moment he
I don't think they
goes
will.
out of the
I think
Sarlacc?
You don't think we-
that's better left unsaid.
The Sarlacc
show.
burping out his armor?
They showed the flashback with Vanth, though. I don't know.
I think that was very westerny though, like the transition. What do you call it? Like the fade transition.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Showcase.
it was.
That's very part of
What
this
you do
episode.
if you show it, though, you blow the opportunity to show it in a future Boba Fett thing.
Yeah, I guess.
So I don't know. That'd
The
be
Boba Fett thing, I was thinking about this. Remember when James Mangold was like attached to a Boba Fett movie?
Yeah.
That got canceled, and then immediately we started hearing rumors about him in The Mandalorian. Maybe Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni were like, can we fucking not do a movie and just use him in our thing and then maybe launch him off or something there? I don't know.
Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't show the moment. But I think if they don't, that'd be the reason.
Yeah.
We'll see. It would be pretty crazy. It would be pretty insane. And you know,
I guess I
Filoni-
could see them just continuing, showing us Boba's story from here on out and then making a movie of what happened in
I'm
between.
trying to think of how many flashbacks we've seen in this show so far, other than just Din Djarin as a kid. And I don't
We
think
saw Din Djarin as a kid, and then we saw one like
Well,
in
this
the
episode
this
was a
episode-
pretty big flashback.
in the second
Yeah.
to last episode, we saw the flashback of Queel putting together IG-11 as like a nurse droid.
Also, it's very obvious too that Boba Fett escapes that Sarlacc pit rather quickly.
Yeah, well, he'd have to,
because
yeah.
Cobb Vanth buys the Boba Fett gear only a few days after the Death Star 2 explosion, which only happened a few days after Boba Fett fell in the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just like festering down there for months. Like he very clearly broke out rather quick.
Probably as
so-
soon as the Jabba's
Yeah,
big
maybe.
thing went away.
People they try to make that joke that like when the barge explodes, like, oh, you can see Boba flying out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Maybe you can.
Another a Reddit user said, "Love when the aspect ratio opened up for FX
so
scene."
cool.
Now, the aspect ratio, shit's gonna the one that sticks out in my head the most is the Hunger Games catching fire.
Oh, yeah.
When she's going up into the arena and it expands, that was like, you're like,
really
oh
cool.
shit. This episode though, man, if you got a TV,
First Man,
if
when
you
he
got
walks out on the moon.
scene, yeah, that's a
right,
great
right.
one.
If you got 4K and you got a good TV, this episode it paid. Today, if you have like the Apple TV 4K or whatever, it paid off. At Robbie Barstool.
Oh yeah.
Interesting question you had. There's scars on Boba Fett. Did they do that because of the potential of another character who would be played by Tamora Morrison, Captain Rex? That's a clone.
Yeah.
If you don't know the animated series, Captain Rex is a very integral character who is definitely alive, because we know he was alive in Return of the Jedi. He was in Return of the Jedi. They retroactively added him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's
Renamed an old guy.
Yeah, it's an old guy with a beard. He's a bigger guy. He's a heavier set guy than Boba Fett looks now. And Tamora Morrison, obviously kind of a slender, kind of thick guy. So they would have to change him up a little bit to look like Captain Rex. We've heard that he could be playing Captain Rex, and you think that maybe the scars were so people don't see two Tamora Morrisons and go, wait a second.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to avoid confusing people who don't know Star Wars lore that well.
And they're doing a good job with
Yeah.
it so far, and I feel like that would make sense if he had almost like, he looked very pale, he looked almost Anakin Skywalker-ish in episode 6, like he had the scars on his face, looked like he went through the fucking Sarlacc pit.
He did.
I think there's a chance, the more down the middle Tamora Morrison look will be for Rex, even though if he is a little heavier, has a beard, it'll be like more like, oh, that's a recognizable guy, and then Boba Fett is he's scarred up from what he's been through.
Well, I don't know how aging process works with clones, but I believe Captain Rex should be 15 to 20 years older than Boba Fett, right? Because Boba Fett's like 9, 10.
He didn't age like,
Yeah, and so Boba Fett was also natural trial, like he didn't get advanced aging. So.
He's definitely at the end of his life, Captain Rex at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got.
He was old in the show Rebels. Rebels is before A New Hope.
Maybe we're gonna catch up with him, and he's with Ahsoka because they were last together, right? Or they were at least together, not last together, but.
Right,
they're
again,
friends.
More characters to be included: Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, Sabine Wren.
These are all
Dark
cartoon
Saber.
characters.
Again, watch the quick recap I did. It's on our YouTube page. You'll hear at the end my little breakdown of the characters were expected. The Dark Saber is going to be the big thing I think binds a lot of this together. That's Moff Gideon. Another question. The last one is from @CamValistra. Said, did they ever explain why Moff Gideon needs the child? No. We don't know why he needs Baby Yoda yet, but the last time we saw him, he has that Dark Saber, which is the most important thing probably this season outside of Baby Yoda. That's the most Mandalorian thing there is, besides the fucking helmet. Predictions. Who's the next character you think we see revealed? And when do we see Boba? When will we meet Boba Fett? I'm not convinced because you saw somebody broke down the trailer. He's carrying the Boba Fett armor on a different planet, right?
No. I think it was from. Right? I'm pretty sure it was a shot from this episode mirrored. I think it might have been that.
Turned around?
We'll look back. I think it might have been mirrored. But there was a shot in the trailer where he has Boba Fett's armor on the back of the speeder. So it could be on another planet.
I'm not convinced we're
going
to meet him next episode.
I don't think we're going to meet him next episode. I think they're going to hold him off a little bit. I think Filoni's doing episode 5.
That's such a big payoff, though. Is it too big of a payoff to not address it next episode?
Well, they're going to have another big payoff, too, when they introduce, what's her name?
Ahsoka.
So
that's what I mean. Filoni's doing episode 5. I think that might be Ahsoka.
Like, there's a lot of characters to introduce. We do know that Sabine Wren will likely be introduced on that whatever water planet we've seen in the trailer.
Mon Cala.
Because we think we saw Sasha Banks, who plays Sabine Wren, in that.
I'd be pretty surprised if Sasha Banks is playing Sabine Wren. I'd be delightfully surprised.
Like. They say
that would be cool.
I think it's more likely that we go Sabine Wren next, and then we go Boba, and then we go Ahsoka last, because Ahsoka is going to be the person they're trying to return.
Totally, that has to feel like a journey.
If he stays on Tatooine, he's going to meet Boba, but if he moves somewhere else, it'd be wild. They're 2 for 2 on casting rumors.
Yeah,
we heard Timothy Olyphant, probably Cobb Vanth. We heard Tamora Morrison back as Boba Fett. So I don't know. Fucking
the silence from Rosario Dawson was deafening in the off season.
Yeah.
I feel like if she wasn't playing Ahsoka, she would be like, no, definitely not.
I'm fucking pumped. Can't believe we gotta wait a week again. I love it though.
I love it. The speculation is the best.
The ability to now go back and watch it and comb through it and think about it. That's why I love the drop of the episodes this way. It lived up to the hype. I think people are gonna be fucking fired up for this first episode. It was so cool. Great moments if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're not a Star Wars fan, if you're just a Mando fan. I'm sure people maybe wanted more Baby Yoda, but you know what? That was what worked with Baby Yoda in the first season.
That's what works with
perfect
Baby
juggling.
Yoda. Give us the
Not too
cuteness,
much,
but don't make him do too much. Don't make him save the day every episode.
Touching the
That's
meat
why it's
at the
special
end.
when he does the
dog
magic
looking like he
hand
was about
thing.
to eat him, and him going, oh.
Yeah.
You know he's in a feast.
There was a
too. He
perfect
loved
amount
that
of
steak.
Baby Yoda. I don't want to hear anything.
I want to
about
see him
complaining.
cook up that steak, that KRAYT steak a little
Yeah.
bit. That's it. As always, hit the like. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button below. Hit subscribe so you'll know when these drop. They usually drop between 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. I don't know. I'm feeling today this could be out earlier. We got it. They're not,
Jeff
it's not
D Lowe
just crazy.
woke up feeling dangerous.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be able to drop it earlier today. Also, if you want to watch the recap video, check that out on this YouTube page as well. We have all stuff with the Clone Wars. I'd suggest if you've not watched the Clone Wars, get into the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. It'll only make what you're watching with The Mandalorian even better. You don't need to watch it, but I'll tell you what. With the characters we're expecting, Ahsoka Tano especially, it's worth knowing. And the finale of the Clone Wars, the last season that dropped in April, was fucking insane.
Awesome.
One of the best Star Wars things ever
We
released.
did videos for it, so you could watch
Yeah.
along with us, basically. Go back, watch those.
It's going to help you a lot.
Yeah.
with
Again,
Mando.
like, subscribe, bell icon. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you next week for episode 2 of season 2 of The Mandalorian.